This is the January 16th, 2024 reorganization meeting of the Hepatcong Borough Land Use Board. The regular meeting will start immediately after the activities in the reorganization meeting are concluded. This meeting is being held in compliance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6 at SEC. It has been properly advertised and certified by the board secretary. Would you please join me in a salute to the flag? Pledge allegiance
to the flag, United States of America, to the republic
which stands
one
one
nation,
nation
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
justice for all.
Okay. We have swearing in for Mayor Marie Galante, David Fanslaw, and Councilman Ryan Smith. Everybody present?
Yes.
Okay, good. You have your oaths in front of you. If not, I'll read and you follow along if you would, as I do. And we'll get to the point where you'll announce either Mayor Designee, Class 2 Land Use Member for Mr. Fanslaw, or Class 1 for Mayor. So please raise your right hands. I state your
I,
name.
David Fanslaw,
Marie Galati,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly
do
swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will
that
support
I
the
will support the
Constitution
Constitution
of the United States
of the
of the
United
United
States
States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the
and the
Constitution
Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true
that I will
faith
bear
and
true faith
allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
to the same,
and to the government established in the United States
and to the
and
governments
to the governments
established
established in the
in
United States
and in this state,
and in this
and in this
state,
state,
under the authority of the people,
under the
under the authority of the
people,
people,
that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
and that I will
and that I will
faithfully,
faithfully, impartially, and justly
perform all the duties of,
perform all the
perform
duties
all the duties of
and then state your position if you would. Class
Land Use Board Member, Class 2
Class 3, land use member,
of the Borough of Hepatcong,
of the Borough of
Borough of
Hepatcong
Hepatcong,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my
to the best
ability,
of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me
help me
God.
God.
help you God.
Now, thank you very much. You'll have forms to sign, and then I can notarize those forms. You're all officially members at this point. So the first order of business in the reorganization is nominations for the position of chairperson.
I nominate Bobby Ray. For chair.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Delarina,
Yes.
Ms. Crock, Judy, you're muted.
Yes,
Mr. Rossi, Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Fanslow,
Yes,
Councilman Smith, sorry,
Yes,
Mayor Galate.
Yes,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Chairperson Ray,
Thank
it's
you.
not on the agenda, but we should have a nomination for the position of board secretary for 2024.
All right, I would nominate Amy Mahia to be board secretary for 2024.
I'll second it.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Delarina,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
yes,
Mr. Ray,
Yes,
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Fanslow,
yes,
Councilman Smith,
yes,
Mayor Galate.
yes,
Thank you.
and you'll have a nomination for vice chairperson.
Okay, do we have a nomination for vice chairman? Chairperson?
How about Anthony
Bonjour.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Mr.
Roll call.
Delarina,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Fanslow,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Galati.
Yes.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the meeting schedule for the calendar year 2024. Resolution 24-03, 2024 meeting dates. Do we need a motion to accept those dates, Bill?
Yes,
We have a motion to accept the dates, the meeting dates for 2024.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Delarina,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Fanslow,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Galati.
Yes.
Just
So maybe-
one clarification. Are we going to keep the meetings starting at 7 o'clock?
Yes, we're gonna keep them at
Okay.
7.
Yeah, I thought that worked well. Thank you.
Yep.
there may be some discussion at some point in regard to whether we have virtual meetings or in-person meetings. For now, they're virtual, and when the board is at full strength, perhaps that's the best time to address that issue and see what the board's position would be. We've advertised now for virtual meetings, and some have been noticed, I think, already in all likelihood. So if you were inclined to renew in-person meetings, you probably wouldn't want to do that until maybe March.
Okay.
If you're not, then fine. Yeah.
All right, well, we'll talk about the first meeting in March.
Okay.
All right, next
Is
item
there
on the,
any, just a comment discussion, is there any consideration of a hybrid? Of having both or no?
I don't know. I mean, I think either one or the other. I mean, I think we can keep the Zoom meetings if we have inclement weather or something. We'll just, as long as that works, Bill. I mean,
Yeah. Newton has tried hybrid meetings. I've been involved with applications there. They're awkward, I'll put it that way, with the camera and that kind of a thing. It works, but it's difficult, even more difficult on a board secretary than this is, frankly.
almost like having two separate meetings. I mean, really, you gotta pay attention to that. You gotta pay attention to the people in the room. So I mean, my opinion is, well, it's either one or the other.
Mhm.
Yeah, just for a point of information, the Borough Council has moved forward, and we're going to be getting a camera installed permanently in the courtroom that will be able to pick up the voices and the video of the dais. That will not be a back and forth open to public comment online, but people will be able to view the meeting online. So just to put that out there, that hopefully will get installed in the next few weeks.
All right, good. Okay, the next item on the agenda is Resolution 2024-4, the designation of the official newspaper. The New Jersey Herald and the New Jersey Sunday Herald, if not available, the Daily Record may be used as an alternate. Motion is in order to adopt a resolution designating the official newspaper of the Borough of Hopatcong. We'll have a motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Delarina,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Fanslow,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Galati.
Yes.
Okay, next item on the agenda is Resolution 2024-05, required disclosure contracts. A motion is in order to adopt a resolution authorizing the award of required disclosure contracts for professional services. Do I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second,
I'll second that.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Dellarina,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
yes,
Mr. Ray,
yes.
Mr. Taylor,
yes,
Mr. Fanslow,
yes,
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Galati.
yes,
Okay, next item on the agenda, I think we took care of this already, but
Yeah.
we'll make it official. Do we have to
Yeah,
do it
you
again,
did, you
Bill?
did, you did, you took care of it
Okay.
already. We kind of moved that up on the agenda.
Okay.
just So that you'd have an official position.
Very good. Next item is minutes. The motion is in order to approve the minutes from the meeting of December 19th, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make that
I'm a-
motion to approve.
I'll
I'll
second.
it.
Yeah.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Dellarina,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
Yes,
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes,
and Mr. Fanslow.
Yes,
Okay, the next item is escrow refunds. John and Sherry Norlander are an escrow refund of $720. It's just information, correct, Bill?
Yeah, yes. Mhm.
Item is the bills. The bills for McDonald and Dolan. Do I have a motion that we pay the bills?
pay the bills.
I'll second it.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Dellarina,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
Yes,
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes,
Mr. Fanslow,
yes,
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Galati.
abstain,
The next item is correspondence. We have an email from Gruber's Law Office concerning an application for Jimenez requesting an adjournment until March 5th, 2024 meeting. Do we need to notice that or anything, or that's just a?
If that's been noticed, then we should have a motion to carry the application, if the board is so inclined, to the March 5th meeting without further notice.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll
I'll make the motion.
I'll second
Motion in a second.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Dellarina,
You muted.
Jimmy, you're muted.
Ms. Crock,
yes,
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes,
Mr. Fanslow,
yes,
Councilman Smith,
Sorry.
Yes.
Mayor Galati.
yes,
All right, very good.
Yes,
Next,
I'm sorry. I couldn't get off the button there.
all right. Next item is zoning officer report. Bill, do you have anything for us?
Yes, I have a couple things if I might. Amy, maybe one port side, could you show that, bring that up?
Yes.
This is a boathouse. It's over right next to, well, it's off of Port Side and there's the beach club right next door. And it's a boathouse that's really right on the property line. And they want to actually take the boathouse down and rebuild it. And if we're following the restoration ordinance, it's more than partial destruction. And technically they'd have to come back and get the variances. But in the past, we've had a few docks where the people have come into the board and the board's basically said that, it's okay to just stick with what you have. This is an aerial view here of the boathouse. You can see there's a kind of a brown dock there. And then you can see that a reddish brown dock and then a brown roof. Exactly. And you can see the beach club dockage right to the left of that there. Exactly. So it's not like it's right up against another residential neighbor. But and then we do have the survey. Amy, is there a second page to that? Or not? Might not have sent that over, but at any rate, the survey does show the boathouse is probably within a foot of being on the property line. There we go. The boathouse and the dock are in yellow. So I just wanted to see what the board's thoughts were on it as far as,
Well, Bill,
Does the
Bill,
board-
when you take a building down like that, they should come back in. Sometimes there's a reason for trying to get a better setback or a compliance setback. I know it's something they don't want to hear, but they should come back in if they're going to remove the boathouse to see if there's other things that can be done to lessen the impact.
We would, I'm sorry. Hi, I'm sorry. I'm Sharon Singleton. I'm the homeowner. We just want to replace what we have. Because
Understand.
at the moment, our boathouse was created, I guess, back in the 1960s when the house was built. We have 2 cement blocks. One of the cement blocks that is under the boathouse that happens to be closer to the beach was made out of rebar and cinder block and then put together with cement. And at this point, it has a complete crack down the middle of it and needs to be, eventually the boathouse will fall if it's not replaced. So that's all we want to do because it's a necessity more than anything. I
Yeah,
mean, at
we're-
this point,
yeah.
the I-beams have rotted away. We've removed the I-beams and we had to jack up the boathouse to keep it from basically sinking. And so all we're asking the board is let us just replace what we have so we can, you know, get in pilings that are going to sustain the weight of a boathouse. And not interfere with the beach next door, to be honest, because
Yeah.
they often use that dock to, you know, to tie off their boat so they can go get their cars and whatever. And right now it's not a safe environment for them to even walk on. I mean, they can't walk on it. So it's more so that we can replace it and be in a safe environment for everyone, incling the beach.
This
Does
is
that
a
make
difficult.
sense?
Yeah,
it
I
makes
understand.
Makes very good sense. We're controlled by the municipal land use law, and you know, I'm the bearer of bad tidings sometimes. But what the statute says, and it controls what we do, it says any non-conforming structure existing at the time of the passage of an ordinance, and that would be the case here, may be continued on the lot or in the structure so occupied, and any such structure may be restored or repaired in the event of partial destruction thereof. And that's the tricky part in that language, in the event of partial destruction. The land use law does not further define what is partial or more than partial destruction. There is some case law that says if you take away more than 50% of a structure, that's more than partial. And that's generally what the boards rely on. And, you know, if you're removing the structure, it becomes a new structure. I know you don't want to hear this. I don't like to even say it, frankly, but that's the law that controls.
So what you're saying is that we need to keep up a wall. Can you be more specific so that I know what I'm allowed to do?
Well, yeah, some people keep up 2 walls and they do that kind of a thing and work around it, which I kind of hate because it's more form over substance when you do that. But you'll have to work with Mr. Donegan on that, and that's within his purview and his discretion. So these things come to Mr. Donegan to handle, and he's very experienced, and he will work with you if that's the way you're going to go about it.
Okay.
all right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The other one is is an application that was approved by the board back, I think, in 2021. It was Divanito was the applicant. It was 1025 Mohawk Trail. And they've had a cottage there for years, and they came in and got variances to basically rebuild it and of course expand it, come up with a year-round home. And Amy, could you pull those up, please. So at any rate, they've come through, they had an approval by the board, and now they've come up with a redesign. This is a copy of the redesign, and it's different. You can see it's still a conventional looking house, but it is different. The lot coverage actually will actually come down a wee bit. So so the lot coverage is, and it was conforming before, but it's less. The building footprint will grow infinitesimally, but it will be at 20%, which is the standard, the maximum standard. The height will actually come down also just a little bit. So those are all good positive things. There's just over on the left corner, the approved plan showed the house to be 10.1 feet off the property line, and the new proposal is 10 feet. So it's 0.1 foot. So that commonly, if that just came my way, I would say that's de minimis, and that wouldn't be something that would trigger me to ask for a variance. But it is a bit different. And maybe, Amy, could you show the approved?
Bill, is it a required 10-foot setback?
It is.
Okay, well,
And-
they're compliant, then they're compliant.
Component.
You're right. I twisted that around. So ultimately, if they're not triggering any variances, it is just a different design. They've taken the driveway off of Bear Pond Trail, which is behind, and brought it in from Mohawk Trail, which is technically the front of the house anyway. So I just wanted to see, if the board had any issues with this. Otherwise, I'd be approving it.
I don't see a problem with it. There's really it doesn't trigger any variances or so. It's a minor design change, so I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
Alrighty. Okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Take care.
Anything else, Bill? That's it?
That's it.
All right, we have a discussion concerning the future location of the land use board meetings. I guess when we do go back to in person, it's gonna go back to the municipal building like they were previous or before COVID, I would suspect, correct, Bill?
Yeah, if that's what the board elects to do, certainly. Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's what we'll do when we get to that point. Yes, we'll go back to the municipal building. 7 o'clock on Tuesday nights.
Okay, yeah, then the question is, when do we get to that point,
Well, I think you said we'll figure that out in March when we're
Yeah,
gonna
okay,
do that.
all right. All right, no, that's
Yeah,
what I said.
so
If
I
the
have-
board makes a determination, you've got to give a little bit of a lead time.
Yep.
Yeah,
to
just know,
Amy.
because right now, everybody's noticing for
Right,
it to
Can
be.
we
heard.
discuss it at the February meeting to potentially change in March? Is that too
Mhm.
soon or too late?
Well, I already, the applicants that are coming to the 2 meetings in February have already noticed for a remote meeting.
Well,
I
maybe,
understand that.
maybe,
What I'm
maybe
asking
from,
is, I'm sorry.
maybe we'll take the next, for the February meeting, they've advertised remotely, so any applications for March, maybe we'll have them advertised for in person or Zoom if if we have, yes.
Okay.
mhm.
Okay, do we have any?
Could we also put a link on the borough website to give people a heads up as well?
I'm sure
Yeah.
they'll do that, Jim. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll get the verbiage, what I need to put on with Mr. Haggerty, and we'll,
Yeah, then in the February meeting, the board can act on that to have a little time to think about it. At the first meeting in February, make a determination whether we go back in person or virtual, if that's the board's inclination.
All right, next item on the agenda is old business. Do we have any old business? I don't think we have anything to discuss, right, Bill? I mean, nothing,
No,
okay, new business, I don't have anything to discuss. Does anybody else have any new business?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we approved the disclosure resolution. Did we address appointing the board professionals in that? I don't believe that resolution addressed that. So I just wanted to bring that up as we have Mr. Haggerty acting as counsel, and I would imagine Mont McDonald is on as engineer. Just as a point of information, I did send email the board members the RFP responses that the borough put out for land use board attorney and for borough engineer. Those that responded to it, I will tell you that at the reorganization meeting of the governing body, appointments were not made for board professional or borough professionals at the time, so the incumbents were in a holdover status. So I just bring that to your attention to see if the board wanted to move forward with appointing professionals or continue as holdover status until the next meeting, when presumably we'll have the other 2 full members and 2 alternates appointed.
Now, Dave, let me ask you this, do we have to wait for the mayor and council to make appointments, or these are our appointments for our board?
I'll defer to Mr. Haggerty, but I did
Yeah.
ask him that question in email earlier today, which I believe it is the land use board's appointment, but go ahead, Mr. Haggerty.
Yes, the land use board does appoint its professionals. Mr. Rushke, is qualified both as a planner and an engineer, so, you get 2 for 1 on that kind of a thing. So that is positive. The mayor does appoint members of the board, except the class 3 member that the council. So the mayor can serve as the class 1 or have a designee. The mayor, I believe, this is probably customary, will serve as the class 1 member. But the class 4 members are mayoral appointments, and the board, it is the board's function to appoint its professionals on an annual basis.
Okay, so that's basically up to us,
Up to you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do we need a motion for that, Bill? Do I need a motion to appoint
Yes.
borough attorney?
Yes, and I think in the agenda there, you voted earlier in regard to, I'm just looking through my agenda part here a little bit, on the resolutions. I think the resolutions actually dealt with that, but there would be a motion to appoint John Rushke as your board engineer, in accordance with the proposal of Mont McDonald.
Okay. All right, so as far as an appointment goes, we would appoint John Rushke as our board engineer, and then as far as a board attorney, we would, I guess we need a motion to.
Both the board
Okay.
engineer and the board attorney. Mhm.
Okay, so do I have a motion to appoint the board engineer?
I'll make a motion to appoint Dolan as the board attorney.
Let's see. All right, we're doing the engineer first, Anthony.
Oh, the engineer, all right, well, I'll make a motion to appoint Mont McDonald as the engineering firm.
We have a second.
I'll second it.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Delarina,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Fanslow,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Galati.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Now,
And
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I would say that the board ought to consider appointment of a planner. We did get a response from Van Cleef for planner as well.
Okay.
And it may be in the board's interest, just as a potential matter of consideration, to appoint a separate firm as planner. I believe that the master plan is up for reexamination this year as well.
all right, so do I have a motion to appoint a borough planner
I'll make the motion.
to appoint Dan Cleef as the borough planner?
Yes.
I have a second.
I'll second.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Delarina,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Fanslow,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Galati.
Yes.
Okay, the next professional, I need a motion to appoint a board attorney. Do I have a motion to appoint a board attorney?
I'll make the
Go ahead. Go ahead, Anthony.
I'll make the motion to appoint Dolan as the board attorney.
Bill Haggerty, correct, right?
Bill Haggerty.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I'll second Bill Haggerty.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Delarina,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Fanslow,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Galati.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I would also note that the minutes should note that all three of the board professionals that were appointed did respond to the RFP for 2024 professionals. So it should be noted that it was through a fair and open process.
Absolutely.
Duly noted.
Okay, next item on the agenda is resolutions. First resolution is manual asset in bay. The hearing was on 12/5/23, and the application was to build a attached carport to a single family home. Do I have a motion to accept that resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Delarina,
Abstain.
Ms. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Fanslow.
Yes.
Okay, next resolution is Monica McCluskey. A motion to approve the McCluskey resolution to approve authorization of construction of a deck to be attached to a single family home. Do I have a motion to approve that resolution?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Delarina,
Abstain.
Ms. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Fanslow.
Yes.
Okay, next resolution is Daniel McCarthy. A motion to approve the McCarthy resolution to approve the reconstruction of a portion of an existing boathouse, boat dock, and enlargement of the dock to wrap around the front of the boathouse. Motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve it.
Second?
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Fanslow.
Yes.
Okay, next resolution is Kevin Viveros. Motion to approve the Vivero resolution to approve installation of a temporary floating dock for seasonal use on a partial not improved with a permitted principal structure. Do you have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve it.
I'll second it.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Delarina,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Fanslow.
Yes.
Last resolution is Jay Slusky. A motion to approve the Slusky resolution to approve the construction of concrete steps connecting existing decks to the dock. I have a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Delarina,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Fanslow.
Yes.
Very good. Continued applications, we have no continued applications. New applications, we have Airport Road Properties LLC, Block 20002, Lot 2, 6 Sparta Stanhope Road. Do we have someone here from Airport Properties?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is Kevin Hahn from Mulvaney and Hahn. I'm the attorney for the applicant. Also, my clients are here with David Clark, the engineer.
Okay.
We'll swear in your witnesses, Mr. Hahn.
Yeah, I'll call Mr. Clark first, Dave Clark from CP Engineers.
Okay, Mr. Clark, are you with us?
I'm with you.
Please raise
Can you
your
hear
right
me?
hand.
Yes.
Yep, please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Mr.
Bill,
Hahn,
do you need me? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
just give a little bit of a qualification of Mr. Clark.
Yeah, I
if you
wasn't
would.
sure. Yeah, if he, I know he's been before the board before. We were here in 2015. But go ahead, Dave. Why don't you give the board the benefit of your credentials?
Certainly. I'm a graduate of NJIT, 1989, with a Bachelor's of Science in Civil Engineering. I have been a professional engineer registered in the state of New Jersey and still registered in the state of New Jersey currently for the last 27 years. I've appeared before numerous boards, county and local throughout the state. I'll say most recently, City of Rahway, Town of Sussex in the past, Sparta, Andover Township, Vernon, Frankfurt, and I currently sit as the board engineer for the Borough of Mount Arlington and the zoning board engineer for the City of Orange.
And you've also appeared before this board, haven't you, Mr. Clark?
The last time before the board, I was actually kind of a side witness. There was another engineer from our office that was also the main presenter.
That's right. I forgot Mr. Byrne was there.
Mr. Byer, yep.
Yes. Okay, well, in any event, I would present Mr. Clark as an expert in engineering.
Accept his credentials. Okay, Mr. Hahn, I guess, is he gonna be the only one testifying other than yourself?
Only if you have questions, Mr. or Mrs. Excuse me, Mr. and Mrs. Walker are here, Dennis and Mary. If you have any questions of the owners, they're certainly here and ready to answer questions. But yeah, I thought our main witness would be Mr. Clark. He could walk you through the project, explain what we're doing. And then if you have any questions of my clients, I guess you could swear them in at that point, unless Mr. Haggerty would prefer to swear them in now. It's up to him.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Mr. Clark, if you could, would you just give the board the overview of the application and what we're looking for tonight in terms of?
Certainly. Am I allowed to share my screen at this point?
Sure.
I would think, yeah, right. That's
Thank you. Make sure I'm getting the right. And at this point can everybody see the screen? Showing the preliminary and final site plan application plans. And I don't know, do you folks see yourselves on there as well? I could hide that if it's in the way.
Yeah, we're on the side.
Okay, let me just try to get as much of this out of the way as possible. Sorry for that. All right. So preliminary final site plan application for proposed warehouse. Project is located at 6 Stanhope Sparta Road, block 20002, lot 2 in the borough of Hopatcong, Sussex County, New Jersey. Give you a little benefit of a tax map location. Many people are familiar with the what used to be one lane road bridge coming across from Lenape Valley and heading north on Sparta Stanhope. The Airport Road Properties project is right across where that bridge still does sit, but is no longer utilized, and it's adjacent to or just south of the Sussex County DPW garage, which is on that road. Hopefully that gives everyone a little understanding of the location. And from that from the standpoint of the project, the site is located in the light manufacturing M1 zone. Lot area existing is 20.89 acres. And the property is going to exist at that same amount. There's no change in the size of that. There's no change in existing lot width, which is a conforming condition. Lot depth, which is also a conforming condition. There is going to be, and we'll see when we get to the site plan itself, a proposed increase of approximately 4.5% or about 41,000 square feet of impervious cover, and which is still well below the 40% which is allowed on the property. Maximum building height proposed to be 24 feet. Front yard setback is conforming. Side yard setback is conforming, and we have a minor dalliance into a side yard of 29.5 feet, which is 6 inches less than allowed. We have a rear yard setback, which is conforming, and we have an existing non-conforming condition of a side yard setback for an accessory structure, which is actually slightly over the southern property line, but has been there and has been part of prior approvals in the past, and there's no change to that proposed condition. Moving on to the site itself, going to give you an idea of existing conditions on the property. As you can see, it's a rather large property, Sparta Stanhope Road. If everyone can see where I'm pointing to, on the left-hand side or west side of the property. There are 2 existing entrances onto the facility, and this is necessitated due to a significant grade change. This whole area down on the lower south side of the property is at a lower elevation than the remainder of the property up in this area. And previously, there were approvals granted for this existing structure here, commercial structure, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 2,100 square feet. 2 existing warehouse structures, 192 by 50 each. Each of those could be or were approved to be 6-unit warehouse buildings back in 2006. Just wanted to get the right time frame. And currently, there is I'll say a mix and match of tenancy. One tenant, and we have these buildings listed as building number 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5 are on the upper. And just so I'm getting it right, building 3 has 1 tenant. Building 2 currently has 4 tenants. And I believe they take up all what was 6 of those spaces, some tenants combining those spaces, 2 spaces into a single. Building 4, which is this upper entrance and upper parking area, is an existing structure which has 5 tenants in it, and building 5 has 1 tenant. These upper structures were part of an approval in 2015, and they have been constructed. They are existing on site today. The upper driveway comes into a turnaround area. There's adequate parking that meets zoning requirement criteria for each building up here, as well as parking that meets zoning ordinance requirements down on this lower area with the turnaround down here. The proposed facility has, forgive me, the proposal is to add a 6th structure, 6th building with 3 units in it, mimicking this similar size or depth of the existing units. With that, looking to address a couple of items here. Removal of some existing sheds at this location, expansion of the parking area with a retaining wall along the back here. And this this area is actually taking up an area that's already been, I'll say, excavated and has been open for almost the entire time that that this site has been utilized. And prior to the construction of these buildings, and I believe even prior to the construction of these, this upper area had been expanded. And we're just utilizing, I'll say, existing disturbed space. We are
And Dave,
expanding.
let me interrupt 1 second. Just to
Certainly.
be clear, this is where we're proposing building 6 is on the upper portion, right? That would-
Correct.
On, okay,
The northern side of the property, adjacent to the existing DPW facility up here. The proposal looks to provide a garbage structure over in this area to replace one that's existing over in this area right now. Just need to move that. We are proposing a second structure here for garbage. Expansion or enlargement of an existing stormwater detention basin to accommodate the new impervious to meet the new stormwater standards. There are existing stormwater basins on site that we are not touching. Those are part of the prior approval, as well as this basin was part of the prior approval. So we're really just addressing the expansion of this lower connected basin to address the new work. With that, I do have one, I'll say one picture that I want to show just to, I believe this will automatically share. Is that sharing as well? Can everyone see the existing picture?
the picture hasn't come up.
It hasn't come up. Okay, I think I gotta stop sharing. I gotta stop sharing the
But while
other.
you have that screen, can you show where the encroaching building is?
Oh, certainly. Well, the zero encroachment or the current?
Well,
or the-
you said there's an existing encroachment. I'm just-
Right. There's an
Building
existing
five.
encroachment down here.
Yeah.
Small frame accessory structure, which just encroaches across the property line by 1.7 feet. And I believe that structure's been there since around, the original,
That was years before I
1983,
did.
1986, that was here before you?
Years,
Okay,
years.
I apologize, it was before the, current owners owned the property.
That was existing when we bought the property.
Gotcha.
What's that used for?
I don't currently know should we share?
Want to swear Dennis in?
Swear
We can
in,
ask
Mr.
Dennis.
Walker?
Yeah,
Sure, Mr. Walker, please raise your right hand.
Yes,
You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes, I do.
And how are you related to Airport Road Properties LLC?
I'm the owner.
Okay, and your full name?
Dennis K. Walker Senior.
Okay,
Can I put my hand down?
you
you
did,
can.
Okay.
yes.
Dennis, do you know what that building's used for? The one that encroaches?
Yes,
Okay.
it's a small, like field office.
And that's used by you or? one of
Yes,
the tenants?
yes, yes.
It's used by you,
used
okay.
strictly by me.
Gotcha.
And it was existing decades before I bought the property, and it's existing to this day as it was 60 years ago.
Okay.
Mr. Hahn, did you
Okay.
say this was addressed in previous resolutions, this encroachment?
I don't know if Mr. Clark said that. Dave, were you suggesting that it was
Yes, it
addressed in
was.
prior resolutions?
Okay.
I don't know if it was expressly addressed in prior resolutions, but it was on plans that had been approved, prior.
Right,
uh,
that's
yeah.
right.
For his projects, yes.
I don't think it was specifically addressed. I looked at them, I may have missed it. But in any event, the board, this board and the prior boards cannot approve encroachments. That doesn't mean we're gonna do anything about it, frankly, but the fact that you present a site plan and the board rules on it doesn't give you any additional rights as to an adjoiner's property, so.
Oh, yeah,
we'll
we
know for
certainly
the
weren't suggesting that. We were just pointing it out that it was there.
Understood.
And
We
had
would-
been
we-
there.
We'll point that out in the, a resolution, that it exists, that's all.
Okay.
Okay,
Dave, you want to show your picture now?
Yeah, just, let me temporarily stop sharing this. Just to give you a look at, what Mr. Walker and Airport Road Properties produce and have on site. This is one of the existing buildings. I believe it's what we call building. Well, you call it D. I have it listed as 5, no, 3, 5. I believe it's 5 on my plan. It's the northernmost building that currently sits on site. And when I was talking about divided into units, this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can't see it, a 6th one. Each of these areas is could be divided into a separate unit to just house a single tenant. Currently, my understanding is one tenant takes this entire building
Yes.
at this time. So there may still be some walls between, maybe not, I'm not sure, but if they are divided, they do have dividing walls in between. If there was a single tenant in one of these units, they would have at a minimum a bathroom and shower area. And occasionally, if desired, Mr. Walker, from what I understand and what I've seen in some of the units, has provided the construction of a small office area to kind of section off a space out of the what we call the warehouse areas or storage areas. Each one has a man door in front and the rear, and these units all have at least one window to the outside, allowing some ambient light into the facility. All of the units, warehouses currently take roof runoff, and that's piped to underground dry wells, which do have overflow into the existing storm system. There is building mounted light at certain locations, as well as singular lights over each of the man doors. And you can see the parking spaces as laid out. The vehicular parking spaces provide smaller car or passenger vehicle parking locations, and in front of each bay door is what we call the loading zone for each of these individual facilities, or each of these units. But I wanted to give you a flavor of what the facility looks like and how it's laid out. Hopefully this helps. Before I stop sharing, does anyone have any questions about this?
So basically, the proposed building is gonna be half of the size of the existing structures, correct? And it's gonna be-
Correct. It's gonna be approximately from that end there to, about that size.
Yeah,
Well, it's
3
got-
units.
Yep, okay.
Is that septic or is that city sewer there?
It's septic. It is septic, and the design And that's one of the reasons for the 3 units is it will keep, the site, below the 2,000 gallon threshold, which is the limit that the local, county health department can approve for a singular site.
Hi, Mr. Clark, are you in receipt of, the letter from Mont McDonald, the town engineer?
Yes.
Okay,
The current letter from November 27th.
yes. Right, and there's
Yes.
10 conditions on there. I mean, do you agree to comply with all of those conditions?
Definitely, definitely. And I think, we have complied with some of those, and, as far as some of the stormwater work, I think there's still some review happening, by Mont McDonald but we will work with them to make sure that, they're happy with what the stormwater design proposes and shows. We did just recently get back, some of the testing for the stormwater, basin. We had done 3 test pits out there, three or 4. I forget at the moment, but and those tests came back very positive as far as the infiltration capability. I've been working with Mr. Walker on this site since I don't know, 2008.
Yeah.
And as far as the on-site soils, excellent sands and gravels. And with a lot of these storms that we've had recently, these significant, 5, 6 inch rains over a couple of, a day or so, these major storms, these basins are the best performing ones I've seen, I'll say in the county. They're definitely drained within 3 days. Even after some of those significant storms. He doesn't have any issues as far as infiltration on site, that's for sure.
Okay.
I would like to pull my plans back up. As far as the site is concerned, we'll, and the letter from Mr. Rushke, we're more than happy to comply with that letter. We know we do have to deal with soil erosion sediment control. We have delayed submitting to them pending this board hearing, only because if there were changes, it just seems to get confusing when multiple entities are looking at different plan sets. We've got that. Mr. Rushke has mentioned that one of the items on his plan is wetland limits. I would like to show what wetland limits had been previously identified. I'll say in the 2000.
Probably 6.
6,
Right,
yeah,
'cause it was a lower building, too.
Just want to make sure the date, the 2006, when the lower section was built. The only wetlands that are anywhere near close to the site, and they are on the adjacent property, are here. Further down, any wetlands are off-site, and I could go back to the existing condition plan to show you how far that we are away from there. At that time, there was a 150-foot wetland transition area, which is the maximum that the state currently has as well, which barely came onto the property. And our closest work is about 300 to 400 feet away from where the wetlands currently still do exist. There are wetlands down there, but we are nowhere near those, and we're at a significant elevation difference. Our lowest is around 934 as far as that outlet. And these wetlands are down at 904, 905. And on behalf of my client, respectfully request, that we don't have to call out a wetlands expert to show things basically in the same location and that we're not impacting those. If that's, something the board would entertain, we'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't think we need that. This is about as far away from that wetlands as you can get. I mean, as far as development goes.
Dave, could you just explain to the board with respect to the waiver that we're requesting for the parking space markings, what you're talking about, where that is?
Certainly. And this is a request that we've had previously of the board and it's been granted. If you notice, existing parking lot striping, and the parking spaces are, 10 by 20. Show a singular line dividing the spaces. The hairpin line that is requested in, by the township is basically each space shows two lines, one coming up and it does has a loop on the end and comes straight back looking like a hairpin, hence the name, hairpin striping. The request has been granted in the past. As you saw from the parking spaces and the use that was shown in that one picture, depending upon who the tenancy is, parking use is very limited. There's not a lot of vehicles that come onto the site other than employees, with the exception of maybe down at the one facility, I'm trying to think of the name of the Hoover Bus Company, which is on the lower side here. They do bus repair. Besides them, they tend to take up most of their parking spaces that that are down in that area. But everyone else, it seems to be very limited. We're I'll say over parking space to over paved, but we do meet the requirements of the township as far as of the borough, I should say. I'm sorry, of required parking, and I tend to see those hairpin turns in other areas where hairpin striping in other areas where you're trying to keep cars a little bit away from each other. We don't have that issue here, so.
What you're saying, there's not a lot of turnover of the parking spaces. It's not like retail or anything like that where you got.
Oh, no. It's basically employees coming onto the site and then leaving at the end of the day. Like I said, in the one, the folks down below, at the Hoover Bus Company, they'll have folks bringing buses, delivering buses and then leaving. That tends to be more of the traffic down in that area. A lot of the current tenancy, I think we have, there's a landscaper, home repair, a cubicle office furniture place, a facility does well pumps, an electrician. A lot of these are, I'll say, tradesmen. They store and or do things on site. So they come there in the morning, get their vehicle, get their equipment, and then leave. And or have their vehicle, leave their car there and take the vehicle with them, if it's a work truck, so to speak. Other than that, there's not a lot of activity on site.
And I took a ride through there last week, and there might have been, I don't know, in that upper parking lot, there might have been 10 cars in the whole parking lot. I mean, plenty of parking up there.
Yeah, they tend to congregate up in this in the front part here toward the rear, since the facility who has that entire building has fewer employees. It tends to be a lot less cars toward the back there.
Okay.
Is that all you have, Dave, for your presentation?
Pretty much, unless anyone has, any questions or comments. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions.
Does anybody from the board have any questions for this application?
Mr. Ray, I do.
Go ahead.
First question, David, thank you. It's a nice plan. Looks lovely. Mr. Walker, it's a very nice site. I did have a question, David, maybe you can answer. Are you planning on expanding the septic system, or does it already meet the code for what you're expanding to?
We're planning on expanding it. And there's actually two systems on site. There's one that serves the lower buildings, here. And the field that services the upper two buildings is here. And this system, we're just gonna be looking to expand it, and I believe it's about 15 feet, 10 to 15 feet that we have to push the same width. But, we're either gonna move it back this way onto the site or push it a little bit further, toward the road. But either way, this field is more than adequate as far as distance away from the property line. We only have to be 10 feet with the disposal field. Currently, I'm gonna give you an estimate. That's about 80, so we're probably 40 feet away at a minimum.
Understood.
And that,
Understood. The second question I had is about the side setback variance. Can you pan back to the proposed dwelling, please? The proposed building.
those buildings, certainly.
It appears that you're trying to make the two buildings line up with the front line of it. And that's why you've exposed yourself to the 29.5. Is there any way we can just slide that building forward 6 inches just so that we can get rid of one variance on this? What kind of impact does that have on the parking lot and the retaining wall on the other side? Does that make it unbuildable, or just moving it 6 inches really not a big deal?
I'll say, you were correct in your assessment. The owners wanted to keep the line of the buildings, which did push this slight encroachment into the side. The side yard, which is 30, is the required. We're at 29.5. If the moving of that building does not significantly impact any movements on site, we do have adequate aisle width here. It's currently over 29 feet, and moving it would keep it still at 29 feet or above as far as aisle width. So it doesn't necessarily impact anything that we're looking to do.
Thank you, sir.
And it, Ryan?
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I don't see any issues with with granting the other two variances. The other one's an existing non-conforming condition. And in order to build this, you've got to disturb steep slopes. And what he's doing is putting in a retaining wall and stabilizing some of the steep slopes. I don't see any issues with that. The stormwater looks good. I do have to wonder why we're not sliding this thing forward 6 inches to get rid of one variance.
Well, I mean, my only thing is that there's nothing behind it, Ryan. There's nothing ever going to be behind that. It's not like it's, encroaching on another building or structure. That's behind there is going to be there forever. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just.
That's the Sussex DPW over there, isn't it?
Yep. Yes.
That is the DPW, and actually have a couple pictures of what we'd be encroaching toward, if you want me to share those as well.
No, I don't need that. The 6 inches,
Okay.
I mean, that's a de minimis variance to grant. It's nice if we can eliminate a variance, but you're right. There's nothing ever going to be back there, and 6 inches, nobody's going to notice that. You're absolutely right.
I think I'd rather keep them. I'd rather keep the buildings in line. They look symmetrical, and but really that new building, you're not even going to see it from the road. I mean, it's going to be hidden behind the existing structure. So, all right. Do we have any other board members that have any questions to this application? Okay. Seeing none, I'll open this application to the public. Is there anybody from the public that would wish to comment on this application? Got anybody, Danielle? Or Amy? No one?
No.
All right, we have no one from the public wishing to comment on this application, so I'll bring it back to the board. Does the board have a motion on this?
I'll make a motion that we approve it.
I'll second it.
Okay, I would second do all that, as long as they agree to all the terms in Mr. Rushkey's letter.
Mhm.
All right, so we have a motion and a second.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Dellarina,
Yes.
Ms. Crock,
yes,
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Fanslow,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Galate.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Great, thank you very much.
Good luck with it.
Yeah,
Chair,
thank you.
could I just ask one clarification? We did talk about the wetlands. That is one of the items in Mr. Ruskey's letter. Is that an item that was agreed that it's far enough away that we don't have to bring in a professional for that?
John, what do you
I
think
just-
on that? I mean, this is about as far away from the wetlands as you can get.
Yeah, I wasn't requesting for an LOI or even for them to delineate the wetlands. What I was really looking at more was not necessarily the wetlands on the southern part of the property, but there are wetlands on the opposite side of the Sussex County Garage in that area. That's getting closer to this. It's still a considerable distance. I don't feel very strongly about it. It's still a good distance away. Being more conservative than, to require it, but I don't feel strongly about it.
Okay, then with that, unless the board has a contrary opinion, we'll delete that from the conditions.
Yeah, you can delete that, Bill.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Have a great night.
you too.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, you too. Appreciate it.
Okay,
Everyone
that
drive
concludes-
safe. You're
That
driving.
concludes our applications for tonight. Next item is the meeting is open to the public. Does anybody from the public wish to address the land use board at this time?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Mr. O'Rourke,
I think that was Mr. Chaplin.
Yeah. I've
Mr.
never done
O'Rourke
this
has his hand
before.
raised.
All right, Brian, you gotta raise your hand.
Brian, you're
reaction.
next.
All right, so go ahead.
I'm sorry, I never did this. I'm nervous.
Okay,
That's
all
all
right.
right. You're next, Brian. I'll call on you.
All right, Mr. O'Rourke.
Good evening. So I received the looks like the parking lot improvements for the what is being considered as or titled as the Board of Education parking lot and municipal parking lot expansion as produced by Mott McDonald back on the 11th from Hopatcong. I guess my first question is, this plan that I don't have a date on the title block because there was no date, but is this plan the complete plan? Is this what we're doing?
I don't know, John, you would have to.
Yeah, that's the plan that was in concept that was developed for that application. It's my understanding that Green Tree is going to take that plan, have their engineer actually refine it more for construction because it was more of a concept plan, and I don't have an update where they are with updating it for a construction plan or where they are with submitting the application to the soil conservation and the county. I don't know an update on that.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense because this plan is eerily similar to one of the Carriega looks like plan back when the original concept and approval and construction was brought about. So then I guess building on my first comment, the Mott McDonald is not responsible for the ultimate production of this plan. Green Tree is going to have their own engineer.
Yeah,
go
Green
about
Tree
this.
is ultimately responsible for implementation of the resolution.
Understood. So does that mean that when Green Tree finally decides to put a plan together, I guess this is where I'm confused is like initially there's talks about Green Tree ordering material and back material and approvals, but like we don't even have a plan yet. So can someone or explain to me so I'm not confused as how there has been an approval process which has been approved without a plan.
Yeah, if they follow that concept plan, I don't believe they have an obligation to come back to the board. If they deviate drastically from that plan, then I may send them back to the board if it's something that I think the board needs to hear, but you know, that's what the current situation is.
Okay,
John, what's your anticipated time frame for them to come back? I think that's probably what Mr.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to them, you know, after the holidays.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I guess,
Ultimately, the resolution didn't have interim dates regarding
Right.
you know, all these
Right.
interim steps. You know, month after month, I get an update from them. They have a firm date that they have to construct it by July, and that's the date, the resolution. So we don't have a firm, you know, milestone in the resolution regarding, you know, every step that they have to take.
Right.
so, all right, so Mott McDonald then has it is up to your discretion whether or not it will need to be approved by the township?
No, as the board engineer and representing the board, you know, they have a concept plan that was approved for that improvements. So if they are following the concept plan, then there's no need to bring them back to the board. But if they're going to deviate of eliminating, you know, reducing parking stalls or reducing, you know, the general configuration, then that's something I would feel a little uncomfortable as doing as a field change. Would likely send them back to the board, but I don't have a plan. It's all hypothetical of what you're asking. You know, we don't. They haven't come back with a construction plan and further details. I don't have you know, copies of their applications to the board, to the like soil erosion and things. So it's all hypothetical you know, discussion at this point.
Yeah, because building on what you just said, obviously I mean, the plan or the conceptual plan that you sent over, these 3 pages, this is, I mean, the title, dates, soil erosion. I mean, do you anticipate them doing lighting?
No, I don't believe we had lighting. That was a requirement.
No, we didn't.
We have lighting along the road itself.
So, all right, so no. So actually, that's a next question, is that considering now this lot is not the Board of Education lot, this is a privately owned lot. And you're, instead of only developing Branch Road, obviously now you're taking Branch Road and a privately owned lot, municipal owned lot and a privately owned lot, and merging them together. How do you anticipate, or how do you think you're going to delineate private and municipal land? Who's going to be responsible? Who's going to maintain it? Who's going to have to do everything that's involved with a municipal and a private lot?
You know, they have approval to extend into the municipal lot, and so the property owner is going to be responsible for the entire parking lot. There's not going to be a line that the town have to be responsible. The property owner is responsible for everything. It's part of the land use approval.
So the prep school is then going to be maintaining this lot in perpetuity,
Yeah, they're the owners.
and they're just out of the kindness of their heart, they're just going
You
to,
know, that's all speculation regarding their opinions and such of that. I don't, you know, this is not a discussion for, you know, regarding their position on this. I don't know what their position is on it.
and that was all part of the resolution?
It's all part of that's part of an easement that was established for that property to have this parking lot constructed.
Got it. So site lighting might not be part of it, but I believe there's some township codes requiring planting and landscaping that might bring about.
It's not, that was not required as part of that application. When the board deliberated on those concept plans in that hearing, it was not a requirement.
The board didn't require it,
No,
or
the board did not require landscaping. It did not require lighting.
so under code 242-49-1, design
is it-
standards, park standards, parking and loading standards, and tree islands. You're saying that under the River Styx redevelopment area, they don't have to abide by any of this.
Correct, and you're revisiting the application and hearing that was done years ago. You're trying to reopen the case, and you know, you can go back to the resolutions and discussions that we're having, you know, with that you know, development of that parking lot. You know, now you're bringing up concerns and issues that, you know, were really issues to bring up years ago.
John, would this be better would this be better to discuss once we have a plan in hand, and we can discuss the plan? I mean, right now, we're just, it's a conceptual plan that has to be perfected, correct? I mean, so once you have that, then we can talk about the specifics.
I can discuss it with Bill and discuss, you know, I don't believe that they're required to come back to the board. There was nothing in the resolution that said they had to come back. You know, they basically got approval for this concept plan to build a parking lot.
I find it very hypocritical that this board is in charge, all right, of going through and doing reviews and doing approvals based on plans, but yet in the same breath, all right, you can approve concepts that may or may not be near that concept. I don't know if
And that's,
sounds
but
crazy
that
to
was,
you,
it was,
crazy to me.
it was discussed years ago when the Green Tree application was proposed and heard by the board. And so it was deliberated at that time, and it was open to the public at that time.
You know, even within your own reviews, you use wording like compliant ADA parking from, or compliant ADA pathway from parking space to building entrance. I don't understand how someone can do a review and use wording, but then not have to integrate it into their own review, what plans they might be developing in the town.
At this point, it's resolution compliance. Bill, do you have any other suggestions
No,
on how to respond to this question?
no, I think Mr. Rushke's answered your questions based upon what had happened. We're not going to go back and revisit it. We're not empowered to go back and revisit it. There wasn't an appeal that was filed to my knowledge. This is what the document says, right or wrong. That is what governs our actions. So, you know, the fact that you're not happy with it, but we can't go back and revisit it. That's it. It's done.
Yeah, I agree. I understand, and I agree with what you're saying. I don't think it's necessarily the perception of me being happy. I'm a true believer of doing what's right, and this just doesn't seem like the right thing to do. My opinion.
Understood.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else from the public wish to question this board? Raise your hand.
Brian Chaplin.
Go ahead, Mr. Chaplin.
How are you doing tonight? I'm a little nervous. I've never done this before. I'm the owner of 25 Richards, lot 2.023028. And I'm talking about the road that they want us to widen the road a little. And in the original resolution, the other gentleman was going to be responsible. I made my road down by my end 30 feet wide. This isn't a small road. I mean, we've had tandems go in there, dump trucks, 40-foot log trucks, everything. And I'm coming to a closing, and I have two guys that have nowhere to live as of the 5th of next month. And I'm in trouble. And we've built 60 homes in Opakon. We've given a lot of revenue to Opakon, and I'm sick to my stomach. I don't know what to do. And I spoke to Bill Donegan this morning, and he used a term called relax the resolution. I've never heard of that, and I'm here. I don't know what to do.
Well, Bill, maybe Bill, maybe you can explain what's going on here, Bill Donegan. I mean, with the whole.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Very basically, Mr. Chaplin came in this morning, and there's an issue when the original subdivision was done. The subdivision map, the site plan, which was stamped and approved, signed, indicated that there be a section of Richards Road. It said proposed future road pavement to be installed by developers or proposed lots 2.01 and 2.02. Knowing that Mr. Chaplin was heading towards wanting to CO this property, and we've discussed this before, but at any rate, you know, that's indicating that needs to be paved. it was originally planned, I believe, to be, shared between the two homes that were going to be on Richards. The applicant that's out on the corner of Bell and Richards, they'd come to the board, they had changed the orientation of the house, then argued or suggested the fact that they were no longer fronting on Richards. They no longer had the need to, of that road, and therefore, why were they required to pay for this part of the improvement? And ultimately at that time, the board, I believe the board had given, basically relaxed that requirement for them. And so Mr. Chaplin, of course, his options would be to do this, or I thought possibly at least come and ask if that might be a possibility for him. And then of course, if it were, then would that actually be a technically, would it need to be an amendment to a site plan application for the board to be able to act that way?
Bill, are we talking about lot 2.01 now? Is that what Mr. Chaplin's talking about?
Mr. Chaplin, I believe, is the owner of 2.02.
Okay.
I believe 2.01 was Mr. Amy, please, Karuba, or
So
Cabrera.
2.01,
Cabrera.
2.01 now
Cabrera.
has the driveway on Bell Avenue.
Yeah, he's no longer coming in off the side, Bill.
He's coming in on Bell Avenue.
Yes,
Okay.
that
correct.
Richards Road is already paved. There's only gonna be two houses that use that. The one house across the street from Mr. Chaplin's, which is existing and it has a paved driveway, and the road is paved up to Bell Ave. Mr. Chaplin's lot, he did what he was supposed to do up to the property line, basically his property. Now, being that the guy on the corner changed his, they didn't have to widen it. He said, I'm not doing any of that because I'm not using that as access anymore. But the existing paved road going down there is 18 feet wide. This, it says installed to be installed. That's already paved all the way down, all the way into Mr. Chaplin's house.
So Mr. Chaplin, your concern is where the
Can I-
pavement ends at the common lot line at 18 feet. You'd like to just have the driveway as depicted continue and not pave 18 feet on it, right?
Okay, can I just say one thing? I moved the house up more, so I'm only holding 10 feet off the property line. If you look at this survey, here they're showing this plot plan. I moved the house up a lot, so I made it, I did all what I had to do in front of my house. This guy skated on this. I don't know how it ever happened, but
When you say,
the road you can
who
put a
skated
fire
on it?
truck.
Who skated on it?
The gentleman in front. I mean, I'm responsible what's in front of my property, all right? Not in front of his property. I mean,
I thought Mr. Ray just said that was already paved.
it is paved. It
front.
is paved. You could drive a fire truck down there.
And then how did he skate?
Bill, let me tell you, Bill, that was existing. What's paved there was existing. I guess when the original thing came in for the subdivision, they wanted to widen that a little bit because those two lots were gonna access that. But it's already 18 feet wide. I mean, I don't see a reason to or a need to widen that any further. It's a road to two houses. So I guess what Mr. Chaplin's looking for is an okay that what's there is adequate. I mean, maybe Mr. Rushkey could weigh in on this. I mean, he knows the site, but Mr. Chaplin did everything he was supposed to do in front of his house up to the property line.
Understood.
But can I be allowed to say something?
Why don't you let Mr. Rushkey say
Oh,
something?
I'm sorry. I've never done this before.
Yeah,
No.
I just don't recall if this portion of Richard Road was considered a municipal road that the town accepted, or was it just a private driveway? Bill, do you recall if that was the case? I thought it was just a private driveway, not a municipal road. So this was kind of a means of getting it closer to municipal standards, and I presume the town was ultimately going to take over then the Richard Road.
I think they already plow that, John. They plow that road down to the house that was existing there, you know, and they paved
I
the
just
road.
don't recall that discussion that we had years ago. I guess
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
issue, is
Yeah,
who's ultimately
they may
responsible.
they may plow it without having accepted the road, you know, that's fairly common where the municipality may plow something that they haven't accepted, so that may be the case here.
I mean, it's just a little dead end that goes to nowhere. It's never going anywhere, you know, that
Right.
there's two houses, there's the existing house and then Mr. Chaplin's house, and the road is already paved all the way down 18 feet wide, so I don't, you know, I mean,
John, do you see an issue with it? I don't, but
Yeah, I guess, you know, before now it was, I think it's already servicing 2 homes, right? It's 2 homes, and now this would be the 3rd home. And so
no, it's only two,
no, it'd
John.
be the second, home.
on the one on the corner, I thought they have a driveway too, the one that's on the corner of Durbin and Richards.
No, that's up front. That comes off of Bell, John. The one that's on the corner of Richards and
Does it?
and Bell. Yeah.
Okay.
It only serves, there's one brick ranch down there and then the
Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, so it is a driveway. I guess the issue, you know, our main concern is now you have more traffic. You know, the developer was actually improving the situation, even if the town is paving it, or if we're not taking ownership, it was just, you know, improving that situation. Because, you know, basically we don't want to get into a situation where this developer, you know, sells his house and all of a sudden now the borough is getting called to pave this area because, you know, the trucks ripped it. You know, so we don't want to have that situation either.
It's already paved, John. It has been paved all the way down. You know, it's not, there's nothing new, there's nothing that's
Yeah,
getting
but
widened
we
there.
can, at the minimum, I would say we can take a look at it just to make sure that, you know, if it's gone through all the trucks and everything, just make sure that the road is not in bad shape. And if it was damaged at all by the developer, then, you know, he's released it, repairing the road that was damaged.
I don't think he'd have a problem with that.
I would write off on that if that helped. I would write off on anything I could do. I have a closing and these people have nowhere to live. I'm gonna have to put them in a hotel.
Now, Bill, is this anything that requires, because it sounds like we're actually amending the resolution and doing a condition in the
Yeah,
resolution.
it's really hard getting these things in the night of a meeting without having paperwork in front of you. Mr. Chaplin, what's the pressure? If we waited until the first meeting in February, we had the paperwork so that we're a little more confident in our position. I know that you've got a hardship, they've got a hardship, but you know, this came to us now, kind of thing.
I totally realize that. Whatever you can do for me, I will agree to anything you say. I'm very easy and I'll write off on, there's nothing going on that road. There's no traffic in that road. There's one lady that has 30 vultures and is the house across the street.
And so you could, if are you okay with a TCO?
Yes, but I don't think
Because certainly I'd feel more comfortable just I could talk to Bill Connor regarding a TCO, looking at the road. And then we just, you know, formalize this, you know, with a resolution amendment. I'm not sure if we have to give notice for that, Bill, because they were amending.
We're gonna have to take a look at it, you know, because I can't remember that far back. I just can't.
And if you would like,
it is kind of out of the blue for me too. You know, you just kind of brought it up.
For everybody. Yeah.
And if you would like me to write off on anything, if there was any damage, I'll be more than glad to write off anything that I'm responsible for anything. But there is nothing wrong with that road. There's nothing wrong with that road.
Well, I guess at this point you have to wait for John or someone from his office to go out and take a look at it, and then we'll go from there. Correct, John?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's
we
put this.
certainly want to try to accommodate if we can. You know,
Thank you.
and certainly
Put
a
it on the
TCO is
agenda.
something that could be a common.
Yeah. Amy, if we could get the paperwork for the next meeting, get a copy of the resolution, copy
I
of the
actually
plan.
have all of them. I can send you right over.
Yeah, then we put it on the agenda for the first meeting in February. If there's a TCO, we do want to act on it and make sure we're doing the
only
right
thing is
thing.
his
We don't know if
closing's the
there's notice
5th and
required
first
or not.
meeting's
We have
the
to look
6th.
at it and see if there's conditions. I don't know.
Was that Amy? What'd you say?
Just know that and correct me if I'm wrong, he said the closing is the 5th, the first meeting for February is the 6th.
Oh, I thought it
Well, I
was,
guess you're gonna have to move your closing, I guess. I mean,
I gotta do what you guys say.
Yeah.
It's all up to you guys.
Well,
All right, well-
if you can scoot out that resolution tomorrow, Amy, if he's got to give notice, we've got to get him moving quickly.
Absolutely.
Can I say one thing, please? So do you want me to do a 200 feet for a variance notification then?
We don't even know yet. We don't have the paperwork. I'm assuming that may be the case.
Yeah, I just want to work on it tomorrow, so I'm ahead of this game, so it's not.
Well,
like
we
the-
can't work on it until we have the paperwork to see. We just don't know.
Okay. And I appreciate your time, and the girl's been great to me, and sorry to drive Amy crazy today, and I don't know how to get on. I have my daughter here helping me, so.
Okay.
But thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
very
you.
good. All right, is there anyone else from the public that has any comments for the board? Raise your hand.
Yep, Alan Gilbert.
Shouldn't Mr. Chaplin have been sworn in?
Well, it was just a request
Just
that he
a
made. It wasn't really a
question,
hearing. It was just a hearing.
Also, I can bring a little bit of light onto this. When the lots were subdivided, there was one person who owned four lots there, and we said that if they sold them, the people who bought them would have to improve the roads.
Yeah,
And
no, that's definitely the problem is that with the resolution, I don't recall that, there wasn't representation that he was gonna get that approval and then sell the lots individually. The resolution was basically set up that one developer would come in, build the two houses, build the road. It was all one developer doing everything. And so the fact that he sold the separate lots, then both developers were then obligated to meet the conditions and it just kind of put the burden on two developers instead of one. So it just got awkward with trying to administer it.
And then the last guy came and he got out of it all. I mean, if we were gonna hold their feet to the fire, we let the last guy in the corner kind of skate out of the resolution and put his driveway coming off of Bell. So he said, well, I don't have to come that way. So why should I have to improve the road?
Right, that's what we did.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, I remember.
I'm sure, but when you get the resolutions, it'll come back to you,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, the standard is that the road be safe for emergency vehicles. I don't think it would have been required that they bring it up to municipal standards to it. John, but we'll take a look at that.
Yeah.
Well, John's gotta take a look at it and, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it just catching me off guard too,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
Just
Right.
don't recall every asset, every specific issue. I just don't wanna, act quickly, look,
Right.
we're ultimately looking out for the interests of the borough and also the interest of the other neighbors, and we just wanna make sure that, we're approaching this right.
Right,
Absolutely.
right.
Okay. Anything else, Al?
Okay.
Anybody else from the public wish to comment? Anybody, Amy? No?
See
Okay.
Okay,
Wanna close
one
this?
thing, Mr. Ray, one thing, if we could go in this, I promise this will only take a minute, executive session to talk about pending litigation.
Okay, so I
motion.
need a motion to go into executive session.
Yes. Yes, we do.
I'll
A
make the
motion?
I'll make the motion to go in executive session.
We have a second.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Delarina,
Yes.
Ms. Crawford,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Fanslow,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Galati.
Yes.
Okay, and then shut down the recording.
Danielle's gonna do that.
Yep, hold on a second, and I need to remove members of the public. If anybody else wants to come back in, just try and rejoin the meeting, and when we go public again, I'll let you in. So just give me 2 seconds to do a couple things here.
We're just gonna adjourn.
Hold on, I gotta let everybody in.
Okay.
There's still two more, it says joining. One more. Okay, waiting room's empty.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is adjournment. I'll wait for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, we're adjourned. See you next month.
Okay.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Good
Have a
night,
good
everybody.
night.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.